Welcome everyone. Today we will take a look at the new built-in control flow introduced in Angular version 17 and compare the typical structural directives in Angular. So I will add a new Angular project. It will inline styles, skip test, and add the defaults. Open the containing folder for the Angular project. Expand the source folder and the add component. I will open the HTML to use the built-in control flow in the new Angular version. I will go to the package.json file. As you can see, I'm using the latest version of Angular that introduces this new feature. So in the HTML, let me use this social links, this div element, to use the common or the typical structural directives ng-for, ng-if, and ng-switch. So imagine we will add or remove this div element based on an ng-if condition. The typical approach is to add this ng-if directive and define any value. So I will go to the TypeScript and declare is update variable. You define it is update with a false value, and then ng-if update, it will not display this div. So open a new terminal. I will serve the application with this command and open automatically in the browser. Save all. This is the new code sample in the new Angular version. So you can see there's no social links defined in the div. So for instance, if I change to true, we can see the social links. So ng-if evaluates falsy values. Falsy values are null, undefined, false, an empty string, or zero. There are other falsy values. For instance, if we replace is update to null, it will not display any social links. But now here comes the new built-in control flow for if statements. This new built-in control flow is a more ergonomic syntax closer to JavaScript. For instance, I will remove this ng-if conditional, typical condition that we used in the structural directives. We can replace this ng-if with the new syntax that is if and is active. It's closer to JavaScript. With the curly braces, we just pass the div, put the div inside. Let's test it out. It's active is null, so I will put to 1. This is a truthy value. As you can see, the social links are displayed. This is the new syntax. You can define else if, else statements in the HTML. For instance, I will add a new else statement and display a div with a message. There are no social links. Replace is update to 0. That is a false value. And let me save the HTML. As you can see, there are no social links. So this is the first built-in control flow feature in the new Angular version. The second feature is the for sentence or for statement. This code sample actually uses this new for syntax. We can see in this div class pull group that we have. Okay, let me close this. We have this div which contains the new for syntax, which displays this array of elements with title, link. So it's a little different from the ng-for because it adds this thread directive as mandatory to ensure fast diffing performance. Instead, with ng-for, we need to add the thread by directive manually to ensure or to improve performance. But here with this syntax, it's mandatory, the track. Okay, we have similar results with the try by from ng-for, but this for syntax is more optimized. So you can see we have this fourth statement which displays this list of items. With this new for index, we can implicitly use variables such as index. For instance, let me use the new implicit index variable by just using this syntax. Save it. As you can see, we're printing the index with the test of the element. And also we can add a new empty block when there are no items in the list. So after the block statement, we can add this empty block to display any content related with no items in the list. So for instance, I will print this message: there are no items in the list. Let me copy this array and create a new property in the TypeScript file, replace by dots, and then create an empty array, type any, and save all. And as you can see, we're printing the empty block, which prints the message that there are no items in the list. One important thing to mention here is that this new built-in control flow in the new Angular version doesn't need to add any module. For instance, we can remove this common module. It automatically enables this new syntax. Let me save it. As you can see, it's the same result. In the ng-for, ng-if of ng-switch, we need to add this common module to the standalone component or to the ng module associated with the component. Okay, let me add the elements of the list to display, and also to change this update to 1 to show or to display the social links. And the last common structural directive is ng-switch, which we select one option from various elements. I will add a new div. I will use the ng-switch, the typical statement or directive that we used in the older versions of Angular. So this is based on a condition. I will add a new property called option equal to 1, and this ng-switch is based on option. Is if 0, we will add a p tag with message that's 0 option. Add another switch case, which we will add a button, click the first option, and a default option we will print this is a default option. Okay, save all, and you can see we're displaying the button because we have the 1 as an option. Change for 0, we print the 0 option, the p tag, and the default is when there are no any options selected. Print 5, this is a default option. Let me print the button. With the new syntax for switch, we can replace this code with the following code. It's similar to the JavaScript switch statement. We just replace this div with a switch statement, which we pass the option within curly braces. We will move these conditions within the switch content, and then replace this switch case directed with case by defining the option, in this case 0, and within curly braces we will print the HTML content that we want to add. Similarly for the case 1, which we will print a button. And finally, the switch default directive could be replaced with the default syntax for the new built-in control flow. And that's it. This is similar to JavaScript. Okay, this is, let me add this a default option. Look at the more ergonomic syntax that I mentioned. This switch statement is the closest expression or JavaScript syntax. Look how simple it is. So save all, and we have the same results with this new switch syntax. Replace the option to 0. We printed the p tag. So this is an overview of the new built-in control flow from the new Angular version compared with the typical common or the common structural directives in Angular. So let's give it a try.